Welcome back to Off the Record. There's something strange that happens in Pattaya that doesn't get talked about enough. Some men don't just notice the women you're with, they study them. They watch who you walk with. They comment on who you date. They whisper about who you spend time with. They question your choices like it affects their life. And the crazy part is, most of the time, it's not even about the woman. It's about what she represents: status, validation, comparison, ego. This video isn't about flexing. It's not about women. It's about why certain men are so emotionally invested in another man's situation, especially in Pattaya. Because secure men don't do this. Let's talk about it. Women as social proof. In Pattaya, everything is public. Who you're with is visible. Who you sit with, who you walk with, who leaves with you. And because Pattaya is so open, women become social signals. Some men don't see a woman. They see ranking. They subconsciously ask, what does his situation say about him? Is he doing better than me? Is he winning? So when a man sees you with a woman he finds attractive, it triggers comparison. Not because he wants her, but because he wants the feeling he imagines you're getting. That's the key. This isn't desire. It's insecurity dressed up as curiosity. Insecurity disguised as morality. Here's where it gets sneaky. Instead of saying, damn, that hit my ego, some men say, she's just using you. She's a ball girl. You're simping. You're wasting money. Notice the pattern? It sounds like concern, but it's really projection. If a man was confident in his own lane, he wouldn't need to judge yours. This fake moral high ground isn't about protecting you. It's about protecting his self-image. Because if he admits that situation looks good, he has to face the question, why isn't my situation like that? And that's uncomfortable. So instead he tears it down. Why this hits harder in Pattaya. Back home, men hide behind structure. Jobs, marriages, titles, social circles. In Pattaya, most of that disappears. No one knows who you are. No one cares where you came from. All that matters is how you move now. That's why Pattaya amplifies male insecurity. You're stripped of excuses. If another man looks relaxed, confident, fulfilled, it's harder to blame the system. So men start watching each other. Who's comfortable, who's nervous, who's bitter, who's at peace. And the men who aren't happy with themselves become hyper-focused on the men who seem to be, especially if women are involved. It's not jealousy, it's comparison anxiety. Let's be clear, most of these men aren't jealous in a childish way. They're dealing with comparison anxiety. They're asking, am I falling behind? Did I make the wrong choices? Why does his situation look easier? Seeing another man enjoy something freely forces them to confront what they don't have or what they haven't built. And Pattaya doesn't let you hide from that. So instead of introspection, they externalize. They critique your choices. They analyze your situation. They minimize your experience, not because it's wrong, but because it's uncomfortable for them to sit with. Why some men police other men? There's another layer to this that doesn't get talked about. Some men aren't just comparing, they're policing. They feel uncomfortable when another man lives freely because it disrupts the rules they've been living under. Rules like, you shouldn't enjoy yourself that much. You should be cautious. You should struggle first. You should earn happiness the hard way. So when they see someone relaxed, confident, and unbothered, it feels unfair, not because it is unfair, but because it challenges the sacrifices they made. And instead of questioning the rules they followed, they question you. That's why the commentary feels personal. Why this shows up as advice. Notice how it often comes packaged as guidance. I'm just trying to help you. I've seen how this ends. Trust me, bro. But real advice doesn't come with resentment. Real advice doesn't come with tone. Most of the time, this concern is unsolicited, repetitive, and judgmental because it isn't about your outcome. It's about them needing validation that their path was the right one. If your situation looks peaceful, it threatens the story they've been telling themselves. The uncomfortable truth about visibility. Pattaya removes privacy. Back home, people can quietly fail, settle, or compromise, and no one sees it. Here, everything is visible. Who's confident, who's lonely, who's coping, who's spiraling. And when your life is on display, comparison becomes unavoidable. Some men respond by improving themselves, others respond by watching you more closely. That's when obsession replaces curiosity. Why women become the focal point. Here's the key insight. Women become the focal point because they're the most visible variable. They're easier to talk about than purpose, discipline, or direction. It's easier to say, she's the problem, than to ask, why do I feel stuck? Why am I dissatisfied? Why does his life trigger me? So women become the stand-in for deeper dissatisfaction. That's why the obsession feels misplaced, because it is. And once you understand that, you realize something important. This behavior has nothing to do with concern, nothing to do with morality, nothing to do with protection. It's about insecurity reacting to visibility. Which brings us to the part that separates secure men from the rest. Why secure men don't do this at all. Why secure men don't do this? Here's the difference. Secure men don't monitor other men. Don't comment on who you date. Don't need to downgrade your situation to feel okay. Don't confuse concern with control. They're busy building. They understand something simple. If you're solid, nothing outside you threatens you. A man who knows who he is doesn't need to police another man's life. And this is important. The men who thrive in Pattaya are the ones who stay in their lane. They observe, but they don't obsess. They learn, but they don't judge. They enjoy, but they don't compare. The real question. So the real question isn't, why is he with her? The real question is, why does it bother you? Why does another man's peace trigger you? Why does his enjoyment feel threatening? Why does his choice need your commentary? Those answers have nothing to do with women. They have everything to do with where you stand in your own life. Mind your lane. Pattaya exposes men, not because of women, but because freedom removes excuses. Some men respond by building themselves up. Others respond by tearing others down. If you're secure, you don't watch. If you're fulfilled, you don't judge. If you're focused, you don't care. So if another man's situation keeps bothering you, it's worth asking why. This is Off the Record. Real talk. No filters, just truth. I'm gone.